News. Man, listen, I figured I would sit here and, make a video about this FTX thing because I'll be honest with you. The cathedral it's moving. The cathedral is fucking moving. It's on the move here recently, And this covers a lot of the things we've been talking about. So let's get into this, right? This is an article from the Gray Zone, which, I love fucking, like real actual journalists. Okay, so the Ukrainian government mysteriously disappeared online records of its fundraising arrangement with the FTX crypto Sam just days before the scandal erupted. The initiative claims to have raised $60 million for Ukraine, but where did the money go? The demise of FTX, the fifth biggest cryptocurrency exchange by trade volume in 2022 and the second largest by holdings, has sent a wave of chaos through global financial markets. As the turbulence grows, the government of Ukraine is conducting an ongoing cleanup and whitewashing operation to rid any and all references to a high-level cryptocurrency fundraising arrangement it struck with FTX from the web. Eerily, it seems to have commenced just day before the scandal erupted. So in case y'all don't know, FTX has gone bankrupt because, they were trading cryptocurrency at leverage and, well, they bet on cryptocurrency going up forever and, nothing goes up forever. That's just, I don't know why they keep doing this. Like, bankers are fucking retarded. Okay, so online records unearthed by the Gray Zone claims tens of millions were raised by FTX for the Ukrainian government and put to a variety of belligerent uses. But with the company now exposed as a Potemkin village lacking underlying assets and major question marks hanging over whether its operations were from day one fraudulent top to bottom, where does that lead to supposedly successful donation scheme? Were those sums truly raised, and if so, to what purposes were they actually put? FTX's destruction resulted from a mass sell-off of the company's native Bitcoin token, FTT, by the rival exchange Binance. Its value plummeted, prompting a three-day run on billions of dollars worth of cryptocurrency, which in turn created or exposed a liquidity crisis within FTX, as it did not have available assets required to redeem client withdrawals. FTX filed for bankruptcy on November 11th. FTX founder and top Democratic Party donor Sam Bankman-Fried. Okay. I'm going to say this now. I don't know why it is that Das Juden constantly has to be involved with every awful thing that happens. I don't fucking understand. Like, every time, we get back to one of these things, it's one of you motherfuckers is the goddamn head of it. I'm like, I get it, right? Ultimately, this whole merchant class ideology thing is yours, right? Because, your people didn't have didn't have a home for a long, long time. And so therefore you had to be welcome everywhere. So therefore you wanted to break down the cultures of everybody else so that you were more welcome, right? You wanted to bring in immigrants everywhere because, that way, you're better covered. You're more welcome, right? You know what I mean? But the problem is when everybody catches you doing these things, they start building ovens, right? And y'all need to understand that we don't hate you, right? This isn't I'm not an anti-Semite type of dude, but for fuck's sake, could you just stop? Please, could you please just stop doing this? I don't want to have to constantly have to be explaining things and going this is why it is that these people are this way, right? I understand that, you have been the merchants of the world, right? You have been the people who have been trading all over the world and doing business with everybody. So therefore, you wanted to be able to deal with business everywhere, the same as you do business in one place, you do it the other, right? I get you, right? We all understand, I understand exactly what the fuck that is as a whole. But on the same point, you're getting to the point here in the past, fucking half a century where you're just invading everybody's fucking homes with your shit. Your poison has infested into places where it doesn't fucking belong. And you're constantly getting caught fucking with our governments. And this is a problem for y'all. Y'all need to have a conversation with your people and go, look, man, because I know y'all can actually do that. Y'all can go to some place and go to the media and go, hey, look, Jews, We need to chill the fuck out. Like real shit, man. Listen, like yo, we're pissing off people. Like we need to have a conversation with ourselves. These motherfuckers don't want this. You know what I mean? Like maybe we should stop doing these things. Just as an in general thing. I'm saying, like, if I owned the media, I would fucking stand here and have this conversation. You know what I mean, with my own people. Be like, hey, look, let's stop doing these things that harm each other. You know what I mean? If I owned the media, keeping it a buck, I tell everybody, hey, look, it's time to get in shape. You know what I mean? Like y'all need to motherfucker put down the goddamn fucking cheese doodles and shit. Right. Anyway, right. Freed now faces criminal investigations in the Bahamas, where the exchange was headquarters, and calls for official investigations in the largely unregulated cryptocurrency industry are reverberating across the globe. The sudden death of FTX has been compared to the 2008 disintegration of Lehman Brothers that participated in the financial crisis. Massive customer holdings have apparently gone missing thanks to secret backdoor in the FTX bookkeeping system that allowed Bankman-Fried to make changes to the company's financial records without any accountability. This connivance may have been used to hide at least $10 billion in client funds Bankman-Fried transferred from exchange to another company he founded, digital asset trader Almada Research. While mainstream media pours over the details of the Bankman-Fried gargantuan crypto scam, not one single major outlet has investigated or even acknowledged FTX relationship with the government of Ukraine. Now, I've gone online and I've done some research on other sides of things, and Ukraine denies all this shit emphatically. But the problem is that you think that we don't have a Wayback Machine, you know what I mean, that can just go look this stuff up, you know what I mean, keeping this 100% honest, you know what I mean? So, okay, the partnership between FTX and Ukrainian government was first publicized on March 14th when the leading cryptocurrency website CoinDesk announced Kiev had launched a dedicated webpage for cryptocurrency donations dubbed Aid for Ukraine. Under its auspices, FTX pledged to convert crypto contributions to Ukraine's war effort into fiat for deposit at the National Bank of Kiev, allowing the embattled government to turn Bitcoin into bullets, bandages, and other war material. Coinbase stated that the initiative deepened. That the initiative. Man, listen, is this? Oh, yeah, that's right. Okay, cool. Coinbase stated that the initiative deepens an unprecedented tie-up between public and private sector forces in crypto. Alexander Bornyakov, an official in Ukraine's Ministry of Digital Transformation, hinted to Coinbase about an upcoming NFT collection auction to give the next boost to the crypto fundraising process. Bornyakov's Ministry of Digital Transportation played a key role in a successful Zelensky-led campaign to cancel the Gray Zone's Max Blumenthal and Aaron Matei's appearance at the Web Summit, a major international gathering of the tech industry in Lisbon, Portugal. In a press release accompanying the announcement of the FTX partnership with Ukraine, Bankman-Fried explained that on the onset of the conflict in Ukraine, FTX felt the need to provide assistance in any way it could. He promised that the arrangement provided the ability to deliver aid and resources to the people who needed it the most. Kiev disappears Aid for Ukraine site days before FTX scandal goes public. The Aid for Ukraine webpage has now been deleted, but can still be accessed via the Internet Archive until very recently, and encourage visitors to help Ukraine with crypto and plead us don't leave us alone with the enemy. There it goes right there. The site featured promotional quotes from an assortment of Ukrainian government officials and Bitcoin bros, among them FTX founder Mayo Fedorov, Ukraine Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Digital Transformation of Ukraine, thanked the cryptocurrency for funding the purchase. I don't know if it'll let me. Yeah. Every helmet, bulletproof vest, night vision device saves some of the lives of Ukrainians. Thus, we must be continued support of defenders. Thanks so much from everybody from the crypto community for supporting Ukraine. This is not just a war against centralized blah, blah, blah. Incredibly excited and humbled to be working with the Ministry of Digital Transformation of Ukraine, Everstake, and others support crypto donations to Ukraine. Today, crypto is playing a significant role in Ukraine's defense. Huge thank to the crypto community for this unprecedented support of Ukraine. Right. So you see, like a Wayback Machine still there. Right. The last available Internet Archive capture of aid Ukraine took place in the afternoon of October 26th. Throughout the webpage existence, the Internet Archive captured multiple snapshots of it weekly. This clearly indicates the page was purged by Kiev in late October, several days before the FTX crisis initially broke out. Once it was deleted, the Ukrainian government created a standalone website on November 1st to promote the endeavor. The page was identical, and quotes from Bankman-Fried and references to FTX involvement and its logo remained in place up until the morning of November 15th. Was the original webpage dumping an erasure of the shift to a totally new interface at that time merely a spooky coincidence? Were the Ukrainians warned of what was coming, and did Kiev know, and when did it know? All right, here we go. The crypto community did not want to stand aside, watch Ukrainians suffer from unprecedented aggression, blah, 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 blah. All right, here we go. Right. Everstake, a Ukrainian-based company. We wanted to give crypto community a viable option to effectively stand with Ukraine and thus launch initiative Aid for Ukraine. The Aid for Ukraine, cooperating with the cryptocurrency exchange FTX, which converts crypto funds and received in the fiat and sends a donation to the National Bank of Ukraine. Though FTX has been accused of serving as a money laundering vehicle for the U.S. Democratic Party, concrete evidence supporting this claim is yet to materialize. But given the Bankman-Fried's background as one of the most prolific donors to the Democrats and the role he plays as a nexus between party power brokers and the cryptocurrency sphere, the allegations are understandable. Bankman-Fried is the son of a law professor, Barbara Friedman. Of course. Founder of a shadowy super PAC called Mind the Gap, which quietly channeled millions of the Democratic Party candidates, primarily the nameless Silicon Valley investors. You see what I'm saying about the cathedral, son? See what I'm saying about this? Legitimately, right? Like, this is, like real shit. Like, I'm trying to tell you, like, this is the oligarchy in the end of the day. Like, y'all don't understand, like, there's an oligarchy in the United States. Here it is on full fucking display for you. The organization has no website or social media footprint, and its founders not advertise their involvement publicly. Chosen through complex data analysis, beneficiaries of the super PAC have no idea themselves or who or what has donated to their campaigns. The raison d'etre is stealth, an individual with ties to the organization told Vox back in 2020. Bankman-Fried establishment of FTX in April 2019, the same month Joe Biden announced his 2020 presidential run, has added to the intrigue surrounding the scandal. Once vast sums started flowing into and through FTX exchange, its founders channeled profits into Biden's campaign coffers. Oddly, Bankman-Fried had no prior history of political giving. Throughout the 2020 campaign, Bankman-Fried gifted over $5 million to Biden and groups supporting him. This reportedly helped fuel a potentially decisive 9-figure 11th hour blitz of TV advertising targeting swing states and made the crypto bro the second largest donor to the president, right behind Michael Bloomberg. Bankman-Fried claimed the wellspring of generosity was motivated less by specific issues than by the Biden team's generic stability and decision-making process. Such an apparent lack of enthusiasm for the president stands at odds with the staggering sums he has pumped into the Democratic coffers ever since. In 2022 alone, Bankman-Fried lavished almost $70 million, not $40 million. It's actually $70 now. The giving spree made him the second largest individual donor to Democratic causes behind liberal venture capitalist George Soros. More recently, Bankman-Fried pledged to donate a staggering $1 billion between this year and 2024 to ensure a Democratic victory in the next presidential vote. On October 14th, however, he completely backtracked, branding the investment a dumb move. Something scandalous was brewing behind the scenes. 1 week later, the Texas State Security Bonds announced it was investigating FTX on suspicion of selling unregistered securities. The development went largely unnoticed by the media. To the extent it generated any interest at all, it was framed as one of the several examples of financial authorities scrutinizing crypto players. What happened to the $60 million raised by Aid for Ukraine? The FTX was indeed laundering funds for the proxy war in Ukraine. The slightest indication that regulators were investigating its operations would have triggered alarm bells throughout Washington and, in extension, Kiev. This may be why the Ukrainian government switched to Aid for Ukraine webpage with a dedicated website and scrubbed the original entirely in just days after the announcement. Also curious are the Internet Archive captures of the Aid for Ukraine website that show records of funds purportedly flowing to Kiev via Bitcoin had not been updated since July. At that time, the webpage reported over $60 million had been raised by the community. This figure is reflected on the updated standalone Aid for Ukraine fundraising website. A breakdown of spending on the new Aid for Ukraine website states that Kiev had spent a total of $54,573,622 in cryptocurrency donations by July 7th on a wide variety of equipment, vehicles, drones, lethal equipment, and other resources. One of the biggest single expenditures was $5 million on a worldwide anti-war media campaign, the details of which will only be published after a victory due to security reasons. Ukrainian government officials and private sector actors involved in the operation of Aid for Ukraine have scoffed at the suggestions of impropriety regarding its use, but have only raised further questions with their denials. Alexander Bornikov of Ukraine's Ministry of Digital Transformation declared that Aid for Ukraine simply used FTX to convert donations into fiat in March. The CEO of Everstake, the validator company that in theory guaranteed crypto funds donated Aid for Ukraine to reach Kiev's Ministry of Defense, also thanked every crypto holder for donating in those early days when every cent, every minute was crucial. Taken in tandem, these comments suggest that Aid for Ukraine would set up purely received donations in the initial stages of the war, and the 60 million figure represents sums received and converted in the weeks immediately following the launch of the initiative. This interpretation is reinforced by Everstake staffer's presentation at a cryptocurrency conference at Web Summit November 1st on the subject of 60 million in crypto for Ukraine. There you go. But an Internet Archive captured Aid for Ukraine on April 1st adds to the confusion, showing that 2.5 weeks after the initial initiative launched, the web page was updated to claim over 70 million had been raised from crypto donors. This was revised down to 60 million 5 days later. More strangely, Aid for Ukraine records show that from the time of the initiative's launch to April 14th, a total of 45 million was spent. This means that just 9 million was spent between April 4th and July 7th, a period in which the war developed into a bloody war of attrition, according to The Guardian. This leaves a gap of at least 5.5 million in the money Aid for Ukraine claimed to have been raised in its initial weeks, and the fund says it distributed to Ukraine. The disparity was confirmed in a tweet by the official Aid for Ukraine Twitter account posted on the evening of November 15th, which stated that out of 60 million received, 54 million have been spent on Ukraine's humanitarian and humanitarian and military needs. Right. That implies that no further funds of any size were received after early April. The total has remained static ever since, despite the resource being open for donations, which would be highly unusual. The government of Ukraine, FTX, and Everstake all now have serious questions to answer, namely why the funds purportedly raised appear to have decreased in the span of a few days, why no donations have been received since then, on the Aid for Ukraine webpage or its new website, how much has been donated since the alleged initial influx, and where did the rest of the money go? Ukraine, a black hole for Western aid. Stories of potential financial impropriety by Ukrainian officials in the country's military are invariably ignored or outright buried in the Western media. In August, expose by the Kievan Independent documented wide-ranging abuses by the leadership of a wing of the International Legion, including sexual harassment, looting, threatening soldiers at gunpoint, and sending them unprepared on reckless missions. Though the Kiev Independent often influences Western media's coverage on Ukraine conflict, the story was completely ignored in the mainstream quarters. The same month, CBS broadcast an investigative feature revealing only 30% of the Western arms shipments from Ukraine ever reached the front line. Due to intense backlash from the Pentagon and other powerful sources, CBS temporarily pulled its own documentary and an accompanying promotional trailer and article from the web. The feature has been updated to claim that the situation has significantly improved since filming, and a much larger quantity now goes to where it's supposed to go. Yo, man, listen, let's keep this 100% honest, right? Yo, we really, really, really should not be standing here having, like this shit, fucking happen where we give money and then they just, fucking do whatever they want with it. Then leader Petro Poroshenko into firing prosecutor. When it comes to Ukraine, Democrats are at the highest levels, also are immensely skilled at burying embarrassing stories. In December 2015, Joe Biden coerced Kiev's then leader Petro Poroshenko into firing prosecutor General Viktor Shokin as a condition for the U.S. underwriting $1 billion IMF loan to Ukraine. I'm going to be leaving here in 6 hours. If Shokin is not fired, you're not getting that money, Biden threatened. With Shokin's firing, the experienced lawyer's ongoing probe into the energy giant Burisma ended as well, which meant that Burisma's most famous board member Hunter Biden, the son of the then U.S. vice president, eluded official scrutiny. Now a politically connected, man, listen, now a politically connected crypto billionaire who used a secret financial backdoor to fleece customers of ungodly sums of money has become the latest character in the saga of shady U.S. aid to Ukraine. And though the collapse of the FTX firm is front page news, mainstream outlets are studiously working on the Ukrainian angle. By Click Clarenberg. All right, so I wanted to bring this to y'all because it's been alleged that all of the money or a bunch of the money that we've been giving Ukraine went into this fucking FTX fund, which ended up being donated to fucking Democratic super PACs, right? Which ended up getting Democrats fucking elected in the midterms. $70 million to be a fact. And it's basically a way for them to spend taxpayer dollars on their political campaigns. Just want to put this out here. You know what I mean? So y'all knew what was going on. I'm Tom Pizza, Pino News. Y'all know the deal. Like, share, and subscribe. I'm out.